money, smaller honey, she a good girl, man, but she act bad for me. Yeah, checks in to get it.
Hello, this is the LockEmUp Hoops podcast. This is BoldBarry's therapy couch session. BoldBarry, I've mentioned to you, in the past podcasts, and I want you to feel comfortable. I'm here as your friend. I'm here to relate to you. You've shown quite a disdain for LeBron James. Now, I'm not a fan of LeBron James, but there's something about LeBron James that hits close to home for you more. What I want us to do throughout these, therapy sessions, we're going to come up with step plans. We're going to come up with, progression plans, something to get you to where even if you see LeBron or if you're to see him on TV or something like that, that you can still move on and live a healthy life. So that's what myself, and Mastermind, what we're going to do for you today. So why don't you go ahead and take it from here? Let us know what's going on. What is it about
What
LeBron
happened?
James? Talk to.
So listen, this all started one senior year in high school in 2007, May of 2007 to be exact. Now, I understand LeBron's good. I never discredited this man's greatness, but in 2007, when this man had the incredible game against the Detroit Pistons with the 48-9-7, it was great. I was rooting right there. I was like, yeah, beat the Pistons, everything. I was almost a LeBron fan. They almost had me. But then, ESPN the next day had the Jordan rumblings. They started talking about, how he's Jordan and it was the most incredible performance, which all of it was true. But now I don't like when people compare themselves or players to Jordan who haven't done anything yet at this point in their career. Now, he's, I think, at this point, 3 years in the league. It's too early for you to start talking about Jordan. The guy hasn't even seen the finals yet. Granted, he went that year. But that was okay. Now he goes to the finals. He loses. All right. We know that team was not playing and beating the Spurs in 2007. I get it. I'm a basketball fan. I understand. I know this. But then we start talking about, excuse after excuse. He needs a team. He needs a team. All right, he got a team. He went 60 plus seasons, 60 plus wins back to back. Lost to the Celtics, lost to the Magic. Now he lost twice in pressure situations. Then, it gets real juicy and you're up and leaving. You're up and leaving, making decisions, shutting down, TV stations, and you're lying to your fans in Cleveland. And, remember, he had this whole year long of the LeBron James free agency distraction. So that already ticked me off because I feel like you didn't have to do that. And no other player has done that until him. So then he makes the decision, takes his talent to South Beach. They have the, the WWF Titantron intros where they're flying up from the floors and they have the lights and stuff like that. Chris Bosh is screaming and LeBron's like, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, you left, you ran, and you're playing with Dwayne Wade, who was absolutely at his best around that time. You're playing with Chris Bosh, who was a 24-10 guy. So I'm like, okay, sick. So then you have all the LeBron fans, and it's really the LeBron fans that make me despise this man as a basketball player. It's never anything personal. It's basketball. He goes to the big three. He says not one, but 8. I'm just gonna say he said 8. He stopped off at 7. He said 8. Now you're disrespecting Jordan to me, and this is just a key thing for me. I'm a big Jordan fan. So you lose that first year. You score 16 points a game. 16 points is LeBron James after you said you're winning 8 chips. You go there. All right, cool. You're losing to. No offense to the Maverick fans and Dirk Nowitzki. Said Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks. You can't be talking after that. And I'm sorry. It's no disrespect. None at all. But that's what happened. And then that next year, you win. You get your repeat, and then also, may I add in, Dwayne Wade actually averaged 26 a game, and this dude who's third best all time, according to NBA.com, put up 17 a game in the finals, in the NBA finals, compared to what he did last night or the other night in the NBA finals. But anyway, this dude runs to Miami, does all of that, loses. Once again, this happens in twos. He lost twice in Miami. It didn't work out for him after he said he won 8 chips. Guess it didn't work out for him. So now it's another decision. He's in Florida. He's running away from Pat Riley. He's tweeting out Shabazz Napier, draft him because, the whole discussions was the Heat need a point guard and LeBron James is doing too many minutes and, all these excuses to why they lost the game, in 2 years, after 2 years of when he's supposed to get the three-peat and, they start saying that Jordan won his first ring at 27, so LeBron's going to do it, which I think he did. But, it's just too much Jordan talk. Just stop the Jordan talk. So then we go now, around recently. You do all that, you leave Pat Riley hanging, you screw D Wade out of the money, and then you're doing all this stuff in Cleveland. You're dictating who gets traded, you're dictating who comes, who stays, which I get it. You're the best player on the team. You have that say, but you're really the GM over there. I get it. So, you lose in the finals. Cool. Things don't go well. Your team's hurt. That's the one excuse I'll actually give you. Those are the one of two excuses I'll give you because 2007 we know, and then and then this one I'll give it to you because I guess the team wasn't healthy, but we're here now. We're at this shit. So you do that, and now things are kind of up and down. You fire your coach. You got Kevin Love in here. You got him drinking chocolate milk. You got him photoshopping himself in photos, and you're doing a whole bunch of LeBron things. And I'm just like, all right, this guy like. Who are you?
Tristan Thompson $80 million.
Right. Giving Tristan Thompson $80 million to put up like 8 points a game. All right, cool. Now things start going wrong. He starts teasing the brotherhood, and this is where I'm gonna get into like the real juicy part here, where I really like can't stand this dude because he always likes to set a precursor of like what he's really going to do. Now we all know if he loses, he absolutely cannot leave. So what better way to set up your super team and everything? Brotherhood talks. So I'm gonna let you just help me out here with like this dude who lies, who just loses, who just always makes up excuses, who's always doing things in twos. So he gives everything like a 2-year plan. So it's like I can't stand a player like this when none of these great players who I hear people that I compare him to have done this. And yes, a lot of players have lost in the finals. I'm not saying nobody's perfect except for Jordan, but all these players have winning finals records. And then you got LeBron, who's on his way to a 3rd consecutive losing finals, and we always making up excuses for this guy. Fans, stop making up excuses for when this guy loses. If this was anybody else in the league, like back in the day, like a Karl Malone, who's the 2nd best scorer of all time, if this was any of these dudes, they would be getting flack out the yin yang. Steph Curry, all these dudes, Kobe would be, all of these dudes. But LeBron somehow keeps getting these passes I've watched this for over a decade now, of this man getting pass after pass after pass after pass of. Yeah, he's a great basketball player. I never say that. But fans, when you are quick to, critique his game and break this dude down, fans are just always like, oh, you're saying he sucks. Oh, you don't know basketball. Oh, no. So it's like, come on. Let's be real here. Let's be basketball people here and just understand. Okay. That's all I kind of have. I'll hear you out.
I hear what you're saying. And I just want to make sure that, it sounds as if, as you progress throughout that explanation, your voice, it got louder and you got more animated. And before I continue, just to be clear, and Mastermind, I'm gonna let you ask him a question next. I know as a therapist, I'm not supposed to pass judgment or anything like that to my patients, but I just want to make it very clear, for all of those that are saying that the Dallas Mavericks got lucky winning that championship. Let's make sure we're perfectly clear. On the way to that championship, they did sweep the Los Angeles Lakers on their way, trying to get a three-peat at the time with Phil Jackson, Kobe Bryant, Andrew Bynum, and Pau Gasol. They then made their way to the Western Conference Finals to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, not just with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, but also with James Harden as well. And then not only that, but then they went to the finals after that. And, pretty much switched it up on defense. Jason Kidd, Deshaun Stevenson, Sean Marion, all taking turns, D'ing up LeBron James. So, this idea that the Dallas Mavericks, they got lucky is complete buffoonery, to say at the very least. As you can see right there, that is no fluke, BoldBarry. But I'm not passing judgment. I am here for you to try to figure out a progression plan, something to help you feel better. So I hear your anger, but we'll work on that. Mastermind, what question do you have to ask BoldBarry as he sits on this therapy couch right now?
It sounds real personal with you too. So my thing is, we know he ain't Jordan, so I know it's probably the fans that really get to you too. Why you letting these fans get to you? You know they just LeBron lovers, man.
Because, man, like, when the fans, they got to come at me with, like, some, like, actual facts and stuff like that. When they just be like, oh, he, like, did this. Or, like, oh, you, like, you have to play, you can't even make 6 straight finals in a recreational league. Like, what do I have to do with, like, LeBron James?
I get it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if we want to talk basketball facts about, like, what he does, if somebody was just like, all right, he's top 10 in the youngest player to do this, I'd be like, all right, I shut up. Like, when he won championships, I shut up. I did everything. I shut up when LeBron does what he's supposed to do because there's too much hype. There's too much fan writing of this guy, when it comes to just being like, he's so great. I get what he does. This is the thing. Fans don't understand. This isn't something that we haven't seen before. Yeah, he's smashing all these records, but, I still got to put him in a category with dudes like Clyde Drexler. You can even sit at the table. You can even sit there with like Dwayne Wade and stuff like that, or like Hakeem Olajuwon, and maybe ask for a reservation with Larry Bird and stuff like that. Like I get this. I get your stats. I get what you break. I get all these records you're passing as a young 18-year-old player who came in the league at 6'8", 275 pounds, doing things that no one has ever seen do. But then we have to break it down to the fact that like he's not winning. This is the thing. People will just exclude the fact that he's not winning. And then we'll just be like, oh, you don't know basketball. But I'm like, isn't this what it's all about? I'm sure if you talk to a bunch of other greats, they'd be like, well, he doesn't have this and doesn't do that. They'd be like, they'll say everything I probably said and more, but he does not win. 2-4, 2-5. Fans are annoying. It's the fans, man.
So let me
LeBron fans.
Let me interject just for a little bit right here. And again, for those that are just paying attention right now, this is the first ever BoldBarry's therapy session where we try to make a breakthrough with BoldBarry with his disdain for LeBron James. Let me ask you something, Mr. BoldBarry, it is, yes. How long has LeBron James been in the league for?
Oh, shoot. He's been at least since 04, so this makes it, 12 years, I believe?
12.
3?
Okay. So 12 or 13 years.
12, 13 years.
Let me ask you this. For about how many years have you, felt, fans coming after you, saying LeBron's this or coming up with these excuses for him? About how many years would you say you've been going through this?
So let me explain that this one in ways, man. Like, it's been, over a decade. It's been a decade of this. But it hasn't gotten bad until around 2011 when this dude decided to up and run. So about 5 years, since he's been going to the finals for 6 straight years, it's been really bad for me because now I go to the point where it's like, you're the most dominant player of the decade easily. I'll give you that. You're the most dominant player of the decade. You go through losing to Boston 2 years in a row or Orlando, and that means, Orlando, you're losing to Boston and everything like that for a couple of years straight. Now you're going through it. Like most of the greats, like Kobe, like Jordan, Isaiah and Magic and Bird and all these guys that we just keep putting his name next to. But you ran. You ran to Miami, and then not only did you run. Now, if you would have humbly just be like, all right, I'm going to Miami, I probably wouldn't have cared as much. But then you're talking about this 8 stuff. So once you started screaming, I'm going to get 8 championships with this team and blah, 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 blah. But then you ran away after, the 4th year of losing there. And it's like, all right, so what happened to the other 4 that you're supposed to get? That tells me you're supposed to finish your career out there, not, oh, I lost after everybody saying I should get this 3-peat and, I'd be on Jordan and those levels if I get this. But now that you lost that, and since everything comes in 2s for you, when you lose, you up and run. So, yeah.
So if we know that, you say for the last 10 years you've been, feeling, this way, but the last 5 years especially it's been really bad, could one not make the argument that a spade is a spade, whereas we know what the fans are going to say to you? We know what LeBron James is going to do year in and year out. So now the question is, BoldBarry and Mastermind, feel free to interject. The question is, if we know LeBron and the fans are going to do that, how can you respond in a much healthier way? How can we trigger that into another progression, where it's still going to happen, but you don't have to fall victim to that? Mastermind, would you like to interject? Do you have a question for
Go ahead. I
BoldBarry?
want to finish it. You can finish that one right there.
Yeah. So what next time, if that happens, where we know what the fans are going to say, let's say they lose the NBA Finals right now. By all accounts, it looks like they will lose it, but you never know. Game 3 is upon us. If they are to lose, and we know the fans are still going to come up to you with excuses, and if LeBron's still going to, make a circus or whatever it is that you've described to us, BoldBarry, how are you going to respond now? You have to do it in a healthy way, because I tell you what, the key to success is being able to live as happy as you are, despite all the obstacles coming your way. So how are you going to respond to that, BoldBarry, sir?
Well, if you guys can see this, I'll respond like this. It says either what you guys can't, which it's either 2 or 4 or 2 or 5. I'll respond like that simply. But I'll also take a line, from my man Morgan from The Walking Dead. It's this line he likes to say called, all life is precious. And I'd like to just, edit that a little bit and say, all wins are precious. You know, and I'll just say that because that makes me more at peace with LeBron fans who want to just bring up like other irrelevant stats. Like to me, they're irrelevant when we're talking about the general basis of it. So I will calmly just say
2-5.
2-5.
That's
or
all you have
2-4.
There you
And then
go.
I might even add a Kermit the Frog emoji or something like that.
Hold on.
Add it on top.
Let's
Okay, all right,
not
that's too
get too
much.
ahead.
All right,
We got
all right,
one
all
step
right,
at
I
a
won't get
time.
too
We'll just
ahead.
say 2 and 5. Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say that, or all wins are precious. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Then that's all I got. But it bothers me though, and it's just something it's my ego. It's my ego. It's my personal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
And I'm
when
sorry,
people talk
folks.
about Kobe. Just go like this,
You know,
5. Can't say anything.
Just be like this.
Mastermind, any final questions for BoldBarry before we go?
So, I know we got the fan page going on now. So how are you going to react when certain people start writing random things and saying, well, LeBron didn't have a healthy Kevin Love now? Because I know that's going to come up soon. And
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving is young, and J.R. Smith is not really good now. So you know these are going to come up, and
These are gonna come.
Tyronn Lue's a first-year coach, and they need more.
Yeah.
They need to run through the system a little bit more. So that's going to come. So
Yeah, because I want to respond to you off saying that like as if it already happened. But you know, it's one of those things like I'm gonna have to let my blood pressure boil on the inside. You know, I'm gonna have to just, you know, sip my tea for a little bit because I know I told a few people who, you know, who are on the fan page and join the discussions and see that I post a lot of things about LeBron. Like I've told a few of these people, like I'm gonna wait till after it's over. You know, that's it. You know, there's a guy at my job who he harasses me every day. I'm sure he's watching this at some point. He's always looking for me, right? Like for example, when like these are the perfect fans of why I get mad. Actually, this is the perfect reason right here. So this dude, right? You know, he sees me before the finals start. He's talking about how LeBron's the best, and LeBron's gonna do this to Curry and do that to Curry, and the Warriors had no chance, and blah blah blah. And no, I've seen him every day. I saw him every single day. Now the Warriors go up 2-0. You know, it's been what three days now, maybe 2 days since that game. I have yet to see this dude, and I've been at work every day. I've yet to see this man up until today. Now, if you're watching, just know I'm talking about you. So when I saw you, you was trying to avoid me, and you ain't want to have nothing to say. And it's fans like this man who come out there and have all this stuff to say, but when stuff happens and it's time to put up and shut up, they often shut up. So hey, if you're watching, I told you.
Well, I think that will be. I think that we'll leave it at there. I think this was a great start to BoldBarry's therapy session. We want to, you know, try to do this periodically. We'll try to figure out a schedule, something that works best for you, and trying to, you know, do this. It's not going to be, you know, a quick fix. You're not going to get, you know, healed overnight. But today was the first step. I'm very proud of you, BoldBarry. You admitted your feelings. You know, I know you're riled up right now and everything, and you could go on and on. But we'll leave it there. This was the first ever BoldBarry's therapy session. Coming up next, the last segment, we're going to do the buzzer beater. I am Realistic Randy with Mastermind and BoldBarry. We'll be right back.
Hey, more rides, new life, new gigs, new this, new that. My home, my place, bigger names, bigger money, smaller honeys. Yeah, good girl, man.